Hey, welcome to vblog 27. This is Business 135, fun with math and Excel. Hey, we're in Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is about banks and checkbooks. Here's our list of objectives for this chapter. Oh yeah, you guys should have already downloaded this 135 Chapter 04. You can see up there in the corner .xls. Hey, we're on the first sheet tab called Objectives 04, Chapter 4. Hey, here's our objectives. Identify the parts of a check, deposit slip, and a check stub. It helps to know all the elements of a check if we're going to use them. Types of checking accounts. Oh, and then we're going to calculate monthly service charge. Yeah, the bank sometimes charges us. Then we're going to complete a check register. Oh yeah, we got to keep track of the balance in our account. Then identify bank services available to customers. Understand interest-paying checking plans if you can get them. Determine deposits with a credit card transaction. This is when we're a business and we accept credit cards. So a customer comes in and buys something for $100 and uses a credit card. And then we're going to calculate a discount fee on a credit card deposit. It's not really a discount fee. It's what the credit card company charges us for collecting for our customers. So for instance, a customer comes in, we slide their card, $100. They just bought a pair of shoes for $100. Well, the credit card company the next day will deposit that money in our account. Then the credit card company goes out and collects from that customer. But guess what? If we sell $100 worth of stuff, that's not what shows up in our account the next day. No way. That credit card company is not doing it for free. So we'll calculate the fee they charge us. In the textbook they say discount fee, but it's not a discount fee. They charge us. It's an expense. What is a bank statement and what is a checkbook? Oh, we know what a checkbook is. That's where we keep track of all the pluses and minuses for our checking account. Bank statement does the same thing, and we get this either mailed to us or we download it from online. And that bank statement is not always exactly the same because, oh yeah, there's some things on the bank statement that are not in our checkbook, like service charge or interest. There also will be some things in our checkbook that's not on the bank statement, like the checks we just deposited yesterday and haven't arrived at the bank yet. So, two different documents. Then we're going to see understand why it's important to reconcile. And then we're going to reconcile a bank statement with a checkbook. Oh yeah, if the bank statement and the checkbook are different, we better have a way to prove that they're actually the same. And it's only a timing difference. The fact that there's a service charge on the bank statement, it just is there. It's not in our checkbook yet. So we learn about that service charge from the bank statement, or interest, for instance. So it's just a timing difference, and we have to reconcile to prove that they're actually both the same. Hey, let's click on our next sheet tab, checks, and we're going to examine a check, understand the parts of different parts of a check. Hey, we're just going to go through all the different parts. Hey, what's up here in the corner? Sue's accounting, and then the address. Oh yeah, this is the person that's writing the check. This person right here writing the check, they are called, in this textbook they say payor, but you can also use the word payer or drawer. They all mean the person whose checking account it is and who's writing the check. Oh yeah, your address and everything has to be up in the corner. The next item, if I scroll over, oh yeah, check number, look at that. This is a pre-printed check number. 4025 is our check number. And guess what? That's pre-printed. So if we're missing any checks, we can tell because one is missing. So as we write them into our checkbook register, if it said 4025, 4027, and there was no 26, we could be alerted and go investigate. Pre-printed. Hey, this number right here, this is called the ABA, American Bankers Association number. And there's a numerator and denominator. The numerator says what state and city, and the denominator says where the Federal Reserve Bank, what number is associated with the Federal Reserve Bank. Let's see if I can make this a little bit smaller here. And then we have the next line. They got the numbers and the pay or pay drawer up on this account. Then it says pay to the order of Home Depot. Okay, so this is the payor, drawer. This is the payee. This is the person to whom we're going to make the payment of $158.70. So pay to the order of. The payee here is Home Depot. Then we have the date. You got to have the date there, and this check shouldn't be cashed before that date. That date is very important in that cents. Then we have the amount, $158.70, and you should write this amount as close as possible there so someone can actually slip an extra 1 in there or something. But we have a check here. Look at this. It says amount, and then we have written there, $158.70. Now we get to see why in Chapter 1 we learn how to translate a word, a number into words, because you got to do it on a check. Guess what? These two better be the same. If they're not, guess what? Which one wins? Not this one, it's this one. So if you have a difference between the two, the bank will always look there. Hey, then there's the bank information right there, Boyne Employee Credit Union. Then we have the drawer, and then we have the memo. If I click right here, see how it says memo, memo. You always want to put a memo here because this says what we use the funds for our business to purchase or to pay off or whatever. Here we purchased a desk. Then we have the magnetic ink character recognition number at the bottom and a bunch of funny little things, but a computer reads this. Hey, there's the Federal Reserve Bank. There's the state and city, there's your account number, and there's the check number. All of that is read, and it has to be read, because if they're going to transfer the funds from one bank to another, the machine has to read all those numbers. Now, you guys can click in this cell right here, and I'm going to actually have to, that's a comment right there. And if you point to it, it pops up. I'm going to right-click that cell and show the comment here so I can scroll around. You guys don't have to do that. Hey, here's a check straight from my account, and I want to show you something. What's the difference between this check here and this one? Hey, look, we got all these numbers here. First off, they got the Federal Reserve and all that kind of stuff. 103 is a little bit different right there. And so the numbers are all there in a slightly different order, though. But what's this? This number says 7442. Look at that, 7442. What? Guess what? The bank, when they figure out what this amount is, they print it in the same character recognition so the machine can read all of it. Where all the banks are, your account number, the check number, and the amount. So when they send it through the machine, they know how much to transfer from your account to, in this case, Bank 1's account. And there's another example there, 4191. These are only after the check has been canceled, though. Of course, this number doesn't show up before you write it. That'd be great. You write it here, and it just goes, bloop, and pops up there. That'd be great. No, that's after you send it to the bank. Now, let's look at the back. I'm going to right-click and say hide comment. Let's look at this one here. What are all those funny little marks there? This tells you it's a canceled check. And don't forget that canceled check doesn't mean the check has been canceled or voided or anything. It means that it's been cashed and the money has transferred from the payor to the payee. And all those numbers on the back and dates indicate when and from what bank to what bank all this transaction occurred between. And the reason why this is so important is because this is the best proof that the transaction occurred. Canceled check. So if someone says, hey, you didn't pay me, you say, well, sorry, look at this. This canceled check right here. It says from my bank to your bank on this date. All right, best proof that a transaction has occurred. Hey, you can read. There's some stuff there you can read, but let's just take a little quiz here. Who is the drawer or payer or payee? Hey, it's the person who writes the check. Who is the payee? Person to whom the payment is made. What is a check? Order by the drawer for a bank to make a payment to payee. That's why it says pay to the order of. This is an order. You just gave an order to the bank. What is a check? You gave an order. You said, hey, bank, please pay this payee from my account. Hey, what is a check that has not been filled out? Hey, paper. I put paper. That's a little bit of a joke, but it's because it's got all your numbers and stuff like that. But in contrast to a signed check made out to you, guess what? If you have a signed check made out to you, that's considered cash. If it's not signed, doesn't have any, it's kind of like a piece of paper. Canceled check that has been returned to you. Again, best proof that the transaction has occurred. Hey, let's scroll down here a little bit. Type of checking accounts. Credit unions, savings and loans, banks, online banks. If you go to credit unions and online banks, you can usually get a little bit better, lower service fee and maybe interest. For instance, E-Trade Bank. Guess what? Online banks don't have much bunch of buildings, and they don't have a bunch of tellers either. They don't have to pay out all that money for the buildings and the tellers. So guess what? They pass that savings on to you in the form of lower service charge and interest. Credit unions do that sometimes too, so shop around. Personal checks, business checking accounts. You can read that. ATM machines. If you get an ATM machine and you get that receipt, please keep the receipt and take it and record that receipt into your checkbook register in the accounting system. Online banks, I've mentioned that. The last thing I want to talk about here on this sheet tip is debit cards and credit cards. I don't want you to ever be confused about these again. Guess what? A debit card. Let's do it from your point of view. So when you use a debit card at Whole Foods to buy your groceries, guess what? That cash comes out of your checking account immediately. And the debit card is attached to your checking account. Now, credit cards, completely different thing. Guess what? You swipe that card at Whole Foods. Again, this is from your point of view. You swipe this card, and you have gone into debt. Now, this credit card maybe have something to do with your bank. But in general, credit cards have nothing to do with your checking account whatsoever. It is an instrument that you use to go into debt. That's from your point of view. If you're the business, again, what does the credit card do for you? You swipe that card. Again, you're the business. You swipe your customer's card. And the next day, if you sold $100 worth of stuff, that amount shows up in your account minus the charge they charge. So if you're a business, the credit card is great because the credit card company will collect for you. They say, okay, we'll put that $100 minus our little fee in your account today or tomorrow, immediately in essence, and then they'll go and collect from that person later. All right, let's go over to our next sheet tab, check stubs. Hey, check stubs. This is the same check here made out to Home Depot for $158.70. Why are check stubs important? Because, and it doesn't matter if it's attached to the side like this or it's a carbon copy underneath. These are important because when you write the check and send it off or give it to whoever, you retain this and you use this to record this into your checkbook register or your accounting system. So that's why check stubs are so important. It's not the best proof that it happened at all. Remember, cancel check with all those numbers printed on the back that say from this bank to this bank on this date. Hey, let's go to our next sheet tab, deposit slips. Hey, this is one by hand. I also, you have them digitized too, so you don't necessarily have to do a handwritten one. You can have a digitized one. But this is a handwritten one, and I want you to notice something. There's currency, coin, checks. On the back, if you have a bunch of checks you're depositing, you can list them, and then you put the total on this side. Subtotal and total. But hey, what is this right here? All of us have been doing deposit slips for years, and we probably have all been putting the pre-printed check number, when in fact you're supposed to put the ABA number here. So ABA number is technically what's supposed to go there. But guess what? Banks still cash them if you put the pre-printed check number, but technically the ABA number is supposed to go there. Hey, let's click on type of endorsements. We want to talk about endorsements. We're not talking about, hey, I like this Coke, you should buy it type of endorsements. This is when you sign the back of the check. So on the front of this check, this is my signature here, a little picture of some checks I did. This signature right here means that I am the payee on the front of this. So the payee signs the back. Why? Because you got to give the right to the bank to go ahead and do the transaction and transfer the funds. This is called a blank endorsement. You just sign your name. This is restricted. Notice the difference. For deposit only into, and then you put the account number and sign your name. The problem with this is if you drop it on the ground, checks are negotiable instruments. So if you drop this on the ground with a blank endorsement, someone can just pick it up and cash it. End of story. Here, but look at this. If we put for the deposit only into this account, then someone can't do that because it says it's only supposed to be deposited in this account. Then we have a qualified, paid to the order of Sue Coolinator without recourse. This means that I am the payee on the front, but I'm signing it over to Sue. Now, this without recourse means that Sue can't come back after me if the check's no good. I would never, if I was Sue, I wouldn't take a check that says without recourse. Hey, let's click on our next sheet tab here.